Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I want to tell you 3 lessons we can all learn from the Essena ONeil situation, even if you don't care about social media at all. Alright, so if you're like me and you're thinking, what is an Essena ONeil? Yeah, I actually had no idea about her either until this whole thing happened. And to give you Cole's notes, if you haven't heard about what's going on so that you don't have to go and figure that out, I'll just give you a quick summation of what's happened, and then I'm going to tell you the 3 lessons that I think that literally we can all take from this to make our lives so much better, whether or not you care about social media. So Essena ONeil is essentially a young girl from Australia who got insta-famous by being beautiful. That's essentially what happened. So she was just like a young girl who was posting photos of herself on the internet, and people thought she was beautiful. People thought she looked fun, and she was representing this lifestyle that we all kind of secretly aspire to. And she amassed like 500,000 followers on Instagram and like 200,000 followers on YouTube. Like she was pretty huge. And a week or 2 ago, essentially, she came out saying that she was going to delete all of her social media platforms because social media was evil. She said that she essentially felt that social media was projecting and portraying people's lives in a way that's not actually real. She was saying that she felt in her own life like she was not happy doing what she was doing. She was not happy like modeling lipstick and modeling dresses and posing for Instagram and just being this kind of like social media celebrity, because she felt like it was projecting and portraying a false reality, that it wasn't aligning with what was truly going on in her life. So she kind of went through her Instagram feed, I guess, and deleted lots and lots of photos, and then put alternate captions on the ones she left, for instance saying like, in this photo I was really, like, this is not a candid photo, like a kind of like a photo of her laying on a bed or something in her bikini, and she's being, this is not a candid photo, like the way that I kind of made it out to be. I posed for this, I took like 100 shots of it, and I posted the one that I looked the skinniest and the one that like my butt was showing the most, because I knew it was going to get the most likes, and I wasn't happy, I was miserable. So she's basically saying, social media is fake, everyone is kind of like portraying only the very best bits of themselves, and maybe bits, like amazing bits of themselves that don't actually even exist, and that this is making people feel bad about their lives when in reality they're comparing themselves to something that doesn't even exist. And so when I kind of looked at this and I saw this story and I was like hearing people's responses like, yeah, well, social media isn't bad, and social media is bad, and she's so right, everyone's fake, and blah, blah, blah. I thought, okay, what can we actually take from this situation and help ourselves to grow and change and increase our consciousness as a society? Because I truly believe that there is a gem in everything. So while this kind of situation might sound and feel really superficial and really silly, I think that there are really like 3 huge life lessons that we can all extract from this kind of drama that's playing out with Essena ONeil, okay? So the first thing that I want to say before we get into anything is that, social media is just a tool, right? It's just like money, it's just like food, it's just like anything. It in and of itself is not inherently good or bad. It's what we do with it that makes it good or bad, right? You can use money for really, really awesome things. You can use money for really, really terrible things. Money isn't bad, it's just money. Same thing with social media. We have the power to turn it into whatever we want to turn it into. And so if we're choosing to portray a fake, false reality and all that stuff, and we're choosing to, participate in that as someone who consumes social media, that's our choice, right? That's not social media's fault. That's us. That's on us, right? So just to kind of say that like there is no inherent good or bad in anything in life, really. It's just all in how we choose to use it. So the first life lesson that I think that we can take from the Essena ONeil thing is that being seen for someone that you're not is worse than not being seen at all, right? And I think that what we're really seeing with what has happened with her story and in her life, and how she feels so betrayed and so like social media is evil and da 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 da, what we're really seeing is that she was portraying an image of herself that wasn't in alignment with who she really is. And she was getting a lot of fame and a lot of notoriety for that image. And she's been saying that she felt more alone, more lonely, more unseen in that time than she's ever had in her life. And I think that this is a huge lesson that all of us can take, because so many of us are so afraid to be who we really are because we're so afraid of rejection, right? We all, to some extent, in our real lives, not even just on social media, just in everyday activities, put on a front, put on a facade. We act in ways that we feel are appropriate or going to be accepted or going to be liked, rather than being our real selves because we're so afraid of rejection. But we're seeing from Essena ONeil that, like, even if you're accepted for someone that you're not, it doesn't make you feel good, right? We all want to be seen for who we really are. We all want to be acknowledged for what's really going on inside of us. We all want to be validated for the human beings that we are, right? And so she kind of was like this big poster child for don't bother putting on a facade, because even if you become hugely popular, everyone loves you in this like fake thing, you are going to feel more alone than if you just had no followers but you were kind of being yourself, or you had like no friends but you were truly being yourself, right? It's that being yourself is literally the most important thing you can do. And when we're looking for validation outside of us, this is the dangerous slippery slope that we get on, right? When we're not willing to validate ourselves, when we're not willing to say, I am good enough and I love myself exactly how I actually am, whether or not everyone else thinks it's great, when you're willing to say that about yourself, you are so much less likely to fall into the trap of just being who you think you should be so that people will like you, okay? So that's lesson number one, is really just be yourself and validate yourself. Because even if everyone else out there validates the pretend version of you that you are being so that people will like you, it's not going to be satisfying, okay? Being liked for who you're not is not satisfying. It's so much better to just validate who you really are and not worry about if everyone else likes you than to pretend to be someone you're not so that people will like you. It doesn't help, okay? Lesson number two, stuff doesn't make us happy. And like, this one is a huge dodoy, but I think we as our capitalist society are still really struggling with this idea, right? Okay, so part of the reason that Essena ONeil got so famous is because she was saying, like, look, I have lipstick. Look, I have these clothes. Look, I have this body. Look, I have visible abs. Look, I have this beautiful face. And I am happy because of it, right? She was portraying this image. And it was a lie. And she's kind of come out and said that now, that none of that stuff made her happy. But the reason that it made her so famous is because we truly still want to believe that when you have the clothes and when you have the fame and when you have the body, you will be happy, right? This is part of the reason she got so famous, is because we continue to buy the lie, even though we know it's a lie, right? It's the biggest cliche in the world that stuff doesn't make you happy, but we still believe it. And this is the huge problem, right? This is part of the reason why people like her get famous, because we buy into it, right? If we were smart enough to say, look, she has those things, but if she's happy, it's not because she has those things. Or, look, she has those things and she's pretending they're making her happy, but they probably aren't, because I know for a fact that having the body or having the money or having the lipstick or having the dress or having the whatever we have doesn't actually make me happy. And if we can understand that, we're going to stop idolizing these people who promote this image of having the stuff and that having the stuff makes them happy, because it doesn't. And really, we should all not be so shocked that, you know, she had fame and that she has a skinny body and that she has lipstick and clothes and that didn't make her happy. It's like, of course it didn't. We know that stuff doesn't make you happy. Why are we surprised, right? None of us should be shocked that she's coming out saying none of this stuff was making me happy. Of course it wasn't. It can't. That's not what makes us happy, okay? And it kind of brings me back to lesson number one. It's like, connection and being seen for who you really are and being validated for who you really are is what makes us happy. Doing something that you're super passionate about is what makes us happy. Living a life that you feel is in alignment with who you are and your values, and like figuring yourself out and living in alignment with that is what makes us happy. The stuff will come and go. And so I think the real lesson here is, if you are living in alignment with yourself, you are being who you are validating yourself, and you have stuff in your life, that stuff can add to your joy, you see? But if you are living a life that's totally out of alignment with who you really are, you're not really accepting yourself, you're not really validating yourself, you're looking outside to the world to make you happy, you're going to have all the stuff and it's not going to make you happy. It's not going to add to your happiness, because it can't. That's not the point of stuff. That's not what it's designed to do, okay? So stuff doesn't make us happy. Having the body won't make you happy. Having the lipstick won't make you happy. Having the dress won't make you happy. Having the fame won't make you happy. If you're not happy on the inside, nothing on the outside is going to make you happy. All right? And lesson number 3 is gratitude. Like, when I kind of first saw this, my first initial reaction was like, holy smokes. Like, this is such a first world problem. And not to diminish that, okay? Because I know that we can kind of get a little judgy, and I will confess that, of course, like, I get a little judgy inside myself, being like, really? Like, you can't, like, to say that you're miserable and that you're, like, your life is terrible because you're modeling and you're being paid to promote lipstick and dresses and people aren't really seeing you, and you're miserable because of that, it's like, hey, you have food, you have water, you have shelter, you have the ability to choose to do whatever you want to do. Like, we here, all of us people who are able to see Essena ONeil, who have iPhones, who have computers, who are able to have anything to do with the conversation, we need to take a step back and realize that we are in a hugely privileged position, right? And that we have so much to be grateful for. We have so much to be grateful for. That if we're allowing ourselves to get so caught up in stuff and like not having enough and not be catching up with the Joneses and not being as famous as someone else and not being as skinny as we should be and blah, 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 we need a reality check, right? Like, the fact that we can even worry about that stuff means that you have more than you're ever going to need. And I think, again, right, this kind of comes down to what's really going to make us happy. What's really going to make us happy is us being aware of how amazingly privileged we are, of us taking time to just account for our blessings. So, like, yeah, if you have a really nice body, you have really nice lipstick, you have really nice clothes, that stuff isn't going to make you happy, but you can still be in gratitude for the fact that you have that, right? You can still be in gratitude for the fact that you have a roof over your head, that you have money, that you have, like, the ability to earn a living just by, like, being beautiful. Like the fact that that's even a reality in where we live is to say that, like, we are so incredibly privileged, right? And we need to spend way more time focusing on our gratitude and focusing on what is, like, truly the fact, like, that we are so privileged, and stop focusing so much on all that we don't have. Okay, because there's always going to be someone who has more than you. There's always going to be someone who has this and that you're going to want. There's always going to be the next desire, right? And that's totally cool. That's totally fine. That's what we're here for. We are here to expand, and part of our desire is to help us expand. But if we're not focusing on how grateful we are to be in the position that we're in, that we can even use social media as a platform, that we can even be a part of a community, a worldwide community of people just through our little, like, devices that we can hold in our hands, that we have the money to pay for, like, holy smokes, right? We are so privileged. So let's just, like, take a step back for a second and say, like, we have this stuff. And no, it's not the answer to happiness, but gratitude sure is, right? And we can be appreciative for what we have, and we can step back and say, look, we are so lucky to be in this position. That we are not in a position to complain. We are not in a position to whine. If you feel unseen for who you are, start being yourself. If you feel unsatisfied with what you have in your life, you have the tools to figure out how to remedy that, right? And so be grateful, right? There are so many people in the world that would kill to have what we have. And we could spend a lot of time debating whether social media is good or bad, and debating whether stuff will make you happy or whatever. And it's like, it doesn't matter, right? If you're grateful, if you're appreciating what's going on in your life, you're going to be so much more helpful for everybody else, right? If you're seeing the privilege that you have and that you walk around in, and you are truly owning that, you are going to be so much more generous, you're going to be so much more kind, you're going to be so much more compassionate for everyone around you, and that's really what changes the world. So let's all use this as an opportunity to take a step back and say, like, wow, we are so lucky that we are in the generation that we're in, that we have the opportunity to, like I say, share our message on social media, that we have the opportunity to care about things and to really, like, form our lives around our passion, that we have the opportunity to develop who we really are and to express that and to have that be seen. Like, there are so many people in the world who don't have that. They don't have that. So let's be grateful, okay? So to recap, we all want to be seen for who we really are. So you may as well just be yourself and accept that some people are going to reject you, and that's fine. You can validate yourself, okay? Because it feels so much better to be seen for who you really are and rejected than to be accepted for who you're not, right? Stuff won't make us happy, and we know that, but, like, really we need to take this, like, we need to stop ourselves from making other people famous who have things or who are beautiful, believing that that makes them happy and that it will make us happy, because it won't. We know this, and we are the ones that make those people famous by still believing that lie, okay? And number 3, gratitude. Be thankful for what you have. Be thankful that we are in this position, like, at all, to express ourselves and to find ourselves and to figure ourselves out. Like, it's so existential, but it's amazing that we have the opportunity to do that. So let's just be grateful, okay? So that's my take on the Essena ONeil situation. Let me know what you think below. Like me, or like this video if you like it. Like me, there you go, right? No, I validate myself. I love me. So subscribe to the channel. Find me on Facebook, we're Perception Trainers. Find me on Instagram, Ali_Perception Trainers. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks.